You can probably give it another 5 minutes, Nick. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily Bone Podcast. A little bit of technical issues this morning, but we're here. We're back, ready to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss yesterday's crypto and macro dump, as well as the bearish day for crypto ETFs, and also the newly released details around Donald Trump's DeFi project and the fallout surrounding it. So pretty juicy stuff to dig into today. We got Kicks on the show eating a banana. Kicks, you want to show the audience your little boo-boo? He's muted, ladies and gentlemen, but he told us that he did not fall off his e-bike the way that Nick did. However, he tripped and fell on the way to his bedroom and scraped his elbow on the corner of his bed. So
corner bed, man. They don't make them like they used to. You know, if that was hard wood, probably would have broken the bone cleanly. Instead, slid down, just took the entire top layer of the epidermis off. But it's okay. Your boy's like Wolverine. I heal up quick.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Nick, how you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I mean, honestly, not great, but
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Other than that, just great. Fantastic.
So other than the fact that you're not doing that well, if you take that out of the equation, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, look, that's how it is sometimes. Why don't we just get into this weather report, Kicks, so that we can kick things off and sink our teeth into the market crash that's happened over the past 24 hours. Kicks, what do you think?
I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to have to just do the intro music myself. Dun, 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 dun. Nick O'Neill's not happy about the lack of music. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Wednesday, September 4th. Looking over at the crypto roundup, we got the majors down 4% over the last 24 hours, with Bitcoin at 56.5, Ethereum at 2,400, Solana at 129. Looks like they all fell off the bed like me. The largest mover among the top 100 coins was Telegram token TON, which lost 11% and is down to $11.6 billion market cap. That dude's in France, man. You better watch out. They ain't going to let him out until that thing's below 10. Over the past 24 hours, global markets dumped, and the crypto total market cap fell almost 5%. Over $1 trillion was wiped out from U.S. equities as NVDIA fell almost 10% following a subpoena from the DOJ. Hey, you know what? That sucks, man. That's tough, you know? Operating a clean monopoly, they don't like it. They knock you down a peg. That's life. Look at Microsoft. They made it back. Japan's Nikkei 225 also fell 3% on the day. You got to wonder if Nick O'Neill is worried a little bit about the carry trade, the Japanese carry trade. Is that going to unwind the whole economic system over the next 6 months? Stay tuned. Next up, it was a tough day for crypto ETFs. Ethereum ETH saw $47 million in outflows as the FBI warned that North Korean hackers may be targeting U.S. ETF funds. I don't even know how that's possible, but I'll rely on the FBI to protect us from that. Bitcoin ETFs recorded $287 million in net outflows. Their worst day since May 2nd. Hey, it's a risk asset. When people go risk off, they're going to take some off the table. Don't get your panties in a bunch, okay? Finally, details were released surrounding Trump's World Liberty DeFi project. Just want to go out there and say, terrible name. One of the worst names I've ever heard in my life. Couldn't probably make a worse name if I tried. The project will be built on
Some people say it's the greatest.
Yeah, some people say the greatest. I won't. The project will be built on ETH and AVE because, of course, you just always think about putting those two together. Yeah, I call it AVE, man. You know, AVE, save, take it to the grave. And we'll feature non-transferable governance tokens because there's nothing people like in this space more than the lack of ability to speculate on something. Following this news, of course, Laura and Tiffany Trump's Twitter accounts were hacked and linked drainers related to the project. You just got to love how much of the entire world is built on top of the U.S. phone system. And they just let absolute sketchball ex-convicts get jobs at T-Mobile and SIM swap you. And it just happens all the time, dude. Just all the time. I mean, why you can't, FBI can't worry about that. They're trying to stop North Korean hackers from getting in the, you know, the Ethereum ETS, man. That's a tough job, man. They're busy doing that. They can't be messing around with T-Mobile SIM swaps. That's low-hanging fruit. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Kicks. Without without the typical music, you still made it work. So that's fantastic. I love how the Trump clan has just decided that mainstream media can't attack them for doing crypto stuff because the mainstream media just can't even figure out what the hell to say. Like they're just so uninformed. He can do as much crypto stuff, and I feel like the mainstream media will never find out or something. So it's pretty interesting. I did see Nick Carter tweet that he feels that it's absolutely necessary that we convince Donald Trump to not, move forward with this crypto project, basically. So it's interesting stuff, but we will see how it all plays out. If we're going to dig into something, I mean, look, we had a big market crash yesterday. NVIDIA, the biggest loser of the day, which is obviously, that's not really a headline that we've heard in a while, given the absolutely parabolic run NVIDIA has been on, not only over the past couple of years, right? Because over the past 6 years, it's actually the only stock that's outperformed Bitcoin, which is an incredible feat for an individual company to outperform the Bitcoin network. That's completely insane. But beyond that, this year has been an insane run. In February or March, NVIDIA was already up 2x year to date. So absolutely wild year so far for NVIDIA. They got subpoenaed from the DOJ relating to its antitrust investigation. And you got to think that that's a big reason why it fell so hard. It erased around $300 billion of market cap in 24 hours. So just an absolutely savage drop. I want to point out, like, for example, he's
that CEO will think twice about not donating to Kamala next time. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so, Kicks. I guess so. People are pointing out that the top of NVIDIA this year was when the CEO that Kicks just mentioned, Jensen Huang, signed a girl's shirt at a tech conference. Very viral picture, equating Jensen Huang to a modern day rock star in the technology sector as like a 60-year-old gray-haired American CEO of a tech company. Pretty fascinating stuff. I want to point out Doug Bonaparth, Ray, if you want to pull up his Twitter, Doug Bonaparth, he is a wealth manager. I don't know where he works or if he has his own shop. He's in wealth management. He only posts funny tweets though. He's like essentially a comedian on Twitter when it comes to financial stuff. And he posted a tweet that had a graph of the S&P 500 over the past, I think it's a 12-month graph, chart, I should say. And he points out, kind of tongue in cheek, that every single time that we've had one of these big dumps in the past year or two with the S&P 500, it bounces back aggressively strong. Like aggressively strong. So I have to think that that's what's going to happen here again, especially since the Fed has so much ammunition this time around. Rates are, historically high still. And everybody thinks, based on Jerome Powell's very dovish, speech or addressing the market last month, that this month we should expect a rate cut. So there's a lot of ammunition to prop up the market from the Federal Reserve at this point. I don't know if Kicks, you have any input on what you think could happen here. Election years are always volatile. The uncertainty is what the market doesn't like. Whether Trump or Kamala wins, both are going to, Kamala's policies, you could make a case, are more bullish. Obviously, that's an exaggeration because I do genuinely think that Donald Trump would be a better president for the market. But Kamala's talking about giving all of these, grants and, first-time homeowner support for, I guess it's illegal immigrants. I don't know who she wants it to be for, but they're going to have to print money to support those policies if they actually get across the line. So either way, we've been in a Democratic presidential environment for quite a while now, minus one Donald Trump presidency. The market's gone up, right? So Kicks, what are your thoughts on where we're at here?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not really surprised where we're at per se. I mean, the thing is with like crypto and in general is it's considered more risky than like U.S. equities. So it's kind of going to roll over first if people are not feeling great. And I think that's kind of, what's happening to an extent. I haven't made any buys, but I still own, my Ethereum, the percentage that I kept. I still own my Bitcoin. I don't want to sell it, but I mean, Bitcoin's not holding up like gold, right? So we're still not in that scenario where it's like the safe haven, right? I still think it's a bet against money, but it's a risk asset version of that. So it's just going to be a lot more volatility. So I think you got to buckle up. I think ETH could go I think Bitcoin could go as low as 44 grand. But that's still a great buying opportunity. And that's still a huge up from the lows.
We got a little background, Nick.
First of all, stop texting me, dude. I'm all good. The second thing is, what I can take care of it. Okay, I'm a grown adult here. The thing I was going to say is Pio's analysis is just wildly off. So I mean, I can't believe that we're like perpetuating the sort of lies that you're just coming out here saying.
It's just going to go all the way down.
What crypto?
No, you're saying I was saying that the market will realistically bounce back and probably in a short period of time. And much of the volatility that we're experiencing right now is that, we're within 80 days of a presidential election. And if you look at previous presidential election years, there's similar volatility. But you're saying I'm all wrong.
You're using data or something. Sounds like bullshit. Sounds like made up sort of stuff. The thing I was going to say is, this concept that the Fed has unlimited power at this point in time, to me, is the main thing that I disagree with.
They don't have unlimited power. They have enough power to put themselves in a similar position to 2021.
Oh, hell no.
No, they literally do. They actually do. Like literally. Because
based on what?
Based on interest rates and based on the amount of assets that they've sold in the past few years. They literally have the ammunition to put themselves in a position for 2021. The only reason I know this is because Anthony Pompliano laid it out in a recent newsletter and podcast episode in detail. They literally have that. I don't know what to tell you.
Can you send me the newsletter?
Yeah, I can send it to you, dude.
I'm going to say Anthony Pompliano is just like a Bitcoin bull. So I don't know.
He's actually not. He abandoned Bitcoin over the past few years, and people give him so much shit for it. He does believe that Bitcoin is going to go up, but his brand is not built around Bitcoin anymore.
What is it built around?
I think there's some brand confusion there. I think he would maybe tell you that his brother Joe, who's built his brand completely around sports, is arguably doing better than him now.
Wow.
Joe Pompliano, man, posting viral bangers about sports on Twitter on the reg, and a big fast-growing sports newsletter.
Here's the thing. Guess what? Everything's fucked, dude. Just buckle up. Don't be a pussy. Buckle up, okay? Hold on to your fucking Bitcoins. Add some more when it goes down to 44 grand, okay? Then when we get into later 2025, going into 2026, then we're going to go up, guys. Then we'll go from 44 to 120. We're feeling great. We'll be in the six figures for the first time. It'll be awesome, okay? But if you're going to sit around, you're going to look at the 24-hour clock every day, is price going to go up? Is price going to go up? No, man, okay? It's going to hurt for a little bit, okay? It's going to go down a little bit. If you're leveraged, bye-bye. See you next cycle, okay? It's not going to be great. That's the facts of the matter. We're probably going to 44K, okay? Suck it up, okay? Suck it up. Don't be a little wuss about it. Don't cry. Oh, it's over. So over. Go to 44. Fucking buy some more Bitcoin, okay? Shut up.
Well, on the Bitcoin front is different than just the general macro front. I can talk about that. However, I don't think Nick wants to hear about it at all. But I just
out these bullshit lies every single time, and it's getting out of control, dude. It's just getting out of control. Here's what the Fed's doing. Wrong.
With the Fed stuff, this is publicly available information. It's just hard to.
Yeah, so Ray, September 18th. September 18th. They're throwing Trump in Rikers, PO.
Well, that's a different conversation. So I just sent Ray literally exactly what I'm talking about right now.
Let's play this real quick. Let's get the 40-second clip.
If we believe that the Fed, which has 5.5% interest rates and can cut, it's like they reloaded their gun. And so now we're sitting here and we're saying, hey, the Fed's not out of the fight. The Fed took a water break, right? They went and they got a sandwich. They took a nap. They are fresh, ready to fight. And so if there is a market downturn or if they decide it's time, they're going to fire everything they got. which means the playbook of the second half of 2020 is coming back and asset prices will absolutely rip because now the Fed's going to stimulate the economy. The Fed has not been stimulating the economy and we're still at or near all-time highs. Imagine what happens when they start the stimulation process.
I'm going to ejaculate. It's what's going to happen when they start the stimulation process. I'm very excited about that.
Nick, first of all, who the fuck's this guy wearing a suit looking like he's running for fucking like the local state House of Representatives?
Clip of him like speaking like, so what they've gone and done, everybody, is they've reloaded their gun. And what they're ready to do is blast that interest rate on down, spread that liquidity all over everybody. My biggest issue with this at this point in time is the distinction was 2021 involved handing cash to American citizens.
That was 2020. But you guys have any position you want. Put it all on wax right now.
I'll put it on wax right now. Guess what? Jay Powell, he studied the Weimar Republic. He's not going to send anything to
Weimar Republic.
Inflation, just yeeting cash all over the place, just skirting it, okay? Like he's in This Is the End and he's Danny McBride. He's not going to act like that. That's not what he's going to do. He's going to play it safe. He's going to play it conservative. Guess what? We're not at all-time highs. Factor in inflation. We're not, okay? That's why you look at the Bitcoin chart, factor in inflation. You got a perfect 2019 cycle. 4-year cycle's broken, but the path.
All right, we lost Kicks. The inflation is what creates the all-time high, but you guys take whatever position you want, which it sounds like your position is that the market is not going to bounce back. You dropped mid-rant, Kicks. I think I got the gist of it.
We're all grateful for that.
You two are bears. Over the next
trying to shut the people's man down.
Okay.
I'm not a bear.
Well, okay. Then what are you?
I'm just saying, I don't know if I feel the same environment is 2020, 2021.
Not identical. It's just more the Fed's positioning. I don't think that the Fed is going to give everybody $2,000 that makes under $100,000 in the United States. That's not what I'm suggesting, obviously. I'm suggesting that there will not be a prolonged recession. The thing that nobody talks about is we just had a technical recession. We literally just did. They hiked interest rates from basically 0 to 6%. Everything dumped insanely hard. Bitcoin dumped from 69K to 16K. Go look at the Tesla chart during that period. That already happened. I'm going to bet against it happening again 2 years later. That's my only bet.
Last thing, nobody else is talking about the spread of homosexuality across this show. Participants in this show, I'm just seeing more and more of it take place here. And it's kind of ridiculous. I just feel like, what is that? Like, what is that based on like how is the Federal Reserve behavior like impacting that?
So that fucking forever chemicals in our testicles, man.
Now we're all gay. What is the music playing? That was crazy.
Woo! Bringing me back to my mid-20s. Let's go, Nick.
No, we need some drugs for that, Kicks. But anyway, I'm just no, I'm not. So check it out. So all right, well, anyway, Nick, any other commentary on this? Do you want to do some charting? Whatever you want to, whatever you want.
The charts look like, here's some people make fun of my charts. Let's zoom in for a second because I haven't added a single line.
Cool. Let's pull up the chart. Are we good on Twitter now?
Pio, what's the game?
I haven't set it up here.
Let's quickly set it up on Twitter. Kicks, what was that?
What's the game with the pickup sticks and the ball?
The pickup sticks?
Yeah, his charts look like pickup sticks, dude.
Okay. Anyway, quickly, while Nick's getting everything ready, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm just requesting.
I just want to shout out our partner real quick. So while Nick's getting ready, everybody, big shout out to our partner for today's show. You've heard us talk about them before. You've seen us go to their events, and that's Karate Combat, baby. And so this September 18th, so in just a couple of weeks, out in Singapore at the Token 2049 conference, we're going to be there. And we're going to be attending this absolutely kick-ass card that is Karate Combat 49, KC49. So it's an absolutely stacked main card. You see the two headliners here, Luis Rocha versus Shazab Rind. And the influencer fight card, which is obviously a lot of crypto people love the influencer stuff. It's a lot of fun, is going to be co-headlined by Ashley Decan, which you've probably seen on Twitter, Ashley Decan against Blonde Broker. another Twitter influencer from crypto, two really cool gals that are going to square up against each other. The co-main event is Barney, who's competed in other combat sports, I believe just boxing thus far in crypto, but this will be his pit debut, I believe, against Tactical Investing. So two crypto influencers facing each other. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be absolutely sick. So make sure you download their up-only gaming app, and you can vote on fighters for a chance to earn karate tokens. The way they have the app set up is super duper cool. We've published content on it. They publish a bunch of content on it. It's really easy to figure out how to use it. And I just think it's a very cool application of a crypto token. Joe Rogan literally said the same thing on his show, where they've talked about Karate Combat a ton of times. There's been a bunch of viral moments this year with Karate Combat. It's been probably, I think the founders of Karate Combat would tell you it's the biggest year ever for Karate Combat right now. And it's basically emerged as a legitimate martial arts promotion, which is obviously insanely hard to do. That's like, all of a sudden being a legitimate basketball league or something like that when there's already the NBA. We just saw the Craig Jones Invitational, which is one of the biggest jiu-jitsu events in the world, actually adopt the pit, which is the ring that Karate Combat uses for their event. So Karate Combat's just spreading across the martial arts world. We're honored to be able to partner with them, and we're going to have a great time going out there. So make sure you download the up-only gaming app, and you can make your picks for the fight and earn karate token. So really cool stuff. Nick, your technical analysis, we're ready to rock.
Let me pull this up and show Ray how to do technical analysis here. Ray, take notes. Let's first start off with Bitcoin, because we had a very interesting chart that I had done before last time, as you remember. This flowery, what do you call this chart?
That's the didn't we call it like the fan?
I think it may be the fan. Yeah, this is the fib speed resistance fan.
I like it.
It broke down. Bad news. Okay, so that's not good. I'm gonna delete it. Chart invalidated. Okay. Solana, though, this is where I want to talk about my lines. Everyone makes fun of my lines, but check out the hourly chart on my lines. Key levels here. I haven't changed anything. Okay, nothing has changed. Look at how it ranges right between my 127 line, bounces off of my 137.27 line, brings it right back down. It's not looking pretty. We did a little break below, little test, and then pop back over. Dude, this is I can't.
Bananas kicks, not bananas, but bananas. A little dyslexia bleeding in. Go ahead, Nick.
So, I mean, look at my lines. Look at my lines. Like, the real question is, are we going to 137 here, or are we breaking down below and going down to 117? When everybody gets bearish on the timeline, thinks that they know what's up, and think that they understand how everything is happening.
Get off the screen kicks.
I tend to start fading them. This is when, remember how bullish everybody was at this point? Bitcoin is never going below 60,000 again. This is it. This is like the timeline is bullish. Now it's bearish. We bounced back off of the 55 level here. See how it's testing it. We may get another test here, but Kicks is just like, oh, it's obviously going to 44. Shut the hell up. Nobody has any idea. Nobody literally has any idea. And right now, the amount of bearishness on the timeline from week to week, it's like everyone here is like, oh my God, everything's transformed. The current trend on Twitter is, I've never seen it this bearish.
And Nick, do you know why? Because nothing that any crypto Twitter person says ever matters. Unless they literally are running a big fund. Like if Joe McCann says something, I think that's relevant. But if anybody that's like your average crypto Twitter user says anything, it does not matter at all.
I mean,
here's the thing, Nick. The problem is you're looking at the daily, dude. That's like looking at like 4 beats of a heartbeat and then trying to tell a guy whether he has diabetes or not. Okay, like you need some more zoom out.
I look at the weekly, so I'm about to zoom out. Just give me 1 second. Look at the diagonal lines. Look at the diagonals. See how this comes down? See how this comes down? We're in that range. Sideways summer, like I said. I mean, I said this months ago, and I've been saying every single time you could just throw the show out the window for literal months because nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters to me. Okay? So that we'll zoom out to the weekly in 2 seconds here. AVAX just absolutely in the garbage. Everyone's saying, yeah, this is going to pump again. Ha! I may be fucked on this one.
I don't think so. If I could make a case for something, I don't think it's that outlandish to consider that perhaps there's going to be a continued little bit of a recalibration of the price of Bitcoin specifically. Obviously, altcoins dip lower than Bitcoin does, AVAX, Solana, etc. Like the further down you go on the risk curve, the lower you're going to go. But it's essentially a recalibration of the Bitcoin price to similar patterns that we've seen in previous cycles, because we had the oddity of this cycle, aka the ETF getting approved in January and causing the all-time high to be broken earlier in the year. Kicks, are you laughing at this commentary?
No, your commentary is great. He's pulling up a chart of Filecoin right now. That's the hole that he's in.
Well, no, I mean, this is a very interesting place to be operating here, Kicks. Like, check out
that chart. Looks like me at 2 a.m. trying to catch something as I fall to the ground, man. And I'm like, there's still a lot more room to go, buddy.
It's even bigger.
Closing thought. Some kid 1995 said the ETF made it pump. Yeah, it made it pump to an unholy level where it broke the all-time high before the halving for the first time in the history of Bitcoin, which is a huge deal because literally there was $500 million of inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs literally every day for prolonged streaks. We had, like, Ray would know this better than me, and Ray, you don't have to go crazy to pull it up. If you know it off the top of your head, let me know. But like there was like an 8 or 9 day run where every day it was $500,000 a day, 8 or 9 business day run of inflows into the Bitcoin ETF. Obviously, there were days of outflows too, but you have that outlier event, a once in a 15-year, once in the history of Bitcoin event, which a lot of people point to as the official maturity date of the Bitcoin asset class. So obviously, that's going to have some impact on the price. And now I think you're seeing a recalibration to get it. Because think about it, if you look at previous cycles, we're actually higher than we would be in previous cycles at this time. So when Kick says it could go down to 44K, I'd argue it could go down lower. It could literally go down lower. And if you're only in higher risk assets like meme coins, NFTs, altcoins, right? Then it's going to hurt way worse if Bitcoin goes down to 40K, right? So that's the thing that people think about. But then people just focus on the kind of crypto side with their meme coins, their NFTs, and their altcoins, and they're not going up. And they'll say, well, this cycle's over. It's not a crypto cycle. It's a Bitcoin cycle. So you have to look at Bitcoin, and that's how you can kind of figure out or just have an idea of what direction things are going in. But I would argue that we're recalibrating because we had that outlier event earlier this year, and we're just kind of coming back down to earth to a more similar structure that previous cycles have shown.
I literally had a dream, like not even joking, 2-3 nights ago. I put in a limit order on Bitcoin at 42 grand in my dream. I'm not sure if I was fully dreaming or if I was like working in my sleep. Either way, I woke up and I placed that limit order.
Okay. Nick, any follow-up? You pulled your chart down.
He didn't even get to the monthly either, man. Look at the monthly. It's a classic rollover on the MACD. Okay, we're going to go back to where we were, just as Pio said, before the ETF pump, which is that 44K level. It may just ping right off that guy in a liquidity crisis event that's going to happen in equities coming ahead. But then when people realize the amount of money that's going to have to be printed to offset this crisis, we ping pong right off that guy, start moving back up.
Real quick comment from Thought It Was Friday. He said the price at ETF open, ETF launch is what he means, was about 43K. So that makes sense on that being a possible bottom.
But Nick's over there like, oh, what's Kicks know? He just says he picks the number 43. He just made that up, man. He doesn't do any research. He doesn't have lines on his charts like I do. Look how many lines I got. I got the best lines. They're all blue, the best color of blue.
I agree and I disagree with Thought It Was Friday in the sense that I get what you're saying, that that could be a possible bottom because of that fact, but also that was after the big run-up, because the run-up started as soon as BlackRock filed for the ETF, if you all remember. That was at the end of last summer, if I'm not mistaken, so essentially about 1 year ago, because immediately people realized that BlackRock had only ever been rejected for an ETF one time in the past, and it was like on a technicality, and they ended up getting it approved anyway, and the other 500 plus ETFs that they had filed for were all approved. So everyone said, okay, well, if BlackRock's filing for this ETF, then they know it's going to get approved, which means there's literally going to be a Bitcoin ETF. And so the price of Bitcoin rallied, Bitcoin related equities like Coinbase and MicroStrategy rallied, and that was really the start of it. I believe we were in the low 20s at that time. 1 year ago, in the low 20s, which is insane considering the cycle bottom was 16K. I hadn't even thought about that fact in a long time. Low 20s before the BlackRock ETF announcement.
We're still up 3.5x from the bottom, except if you're an ETH, like an idiot like me.
Well, there's no guarantee of any other crypto asset pumping besides Bitcoin, and there's going to be competition around those assets. That's also why the performance of assets like Solana thus far this cycle outperforms Bitcoin, because it's harder to pick the winner, because there's a lot of people that believe that Ethereum was, quote, ultrasound money and Ethereum was set to replace Bitcoin. Last cycle, that was kind of a narrative that a lot of Ethereum focused bulls were pushing, and as a result, they get caught up in ETH, and then a competitor emerges, aka Solana, it outperforms, and that's kind of where we're at now, even with an ETH ETF in market, which is still crazy and still, in my opinion, something that's understated. I don't really see anybody caring about that. I don't know. I think it does matter, and I think that there's a percentage of liquidity that TradFi is going to allocate to Ethereum. I don't think it needs to be this massive percentage for it to have an impact. But anyway, Nick, any other thoughts on this, on the I guess the rest of the year? Nothing from you. Cool. Well, we're going to be joined by one of our partners for today's show, Tal from Uncaged, in just a moment. So we're going to bring him on in 2 or 3 minutes. Just before we go, Kicks, prediction markets. Are you interested in the prediction market, Predict.fun, launched on Blast? You had some thoughts. Maybe you can break down what you view as the key kind of factors here for Predict.fun versus Polymarket, and whether this is, significant or more of a nothing burger. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, great question. I just looked at it this morning. I mean, they have some decent volume coming in. They have 190K on the presidential election winner. And they have some other markets with decent volume. They even have some crypto markets with some volume behind them. And they're using gold to incentivize people. They have the native yield, but they also have gold. And I'm pretty sure they're using that to incentivize people to keep the spread tight. And if you look at some of these markets, like if you look at the presidential election winner, they're pretty close to being on par to predict it. And they even have a spread. They have a 0.1% spread. And there's decent.
Predicted or Predict.fun?
Sorry, Predict.fun.
Okay.
And they have a good amount of like liquidity, like on the books. Like you could buy $250,000 of Donald Trump to win the election in one clip. So they definitely are attracting some good liquidity. Now I think it's a matter of attracting like the users. The nice thing is that like if you have liquidity on Blast, like I have liquidity on Blast, I don't have to bridge it over if I want to, make a bet on Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. I can just make it right here. Also with the longer duration markets, earning that yield is interesting, right? Especially on markets where there's a higher percentage outcome, so you have a low return. So like Pia, let's say like you want to put money in Kamala Harris winning New York, right?
Sure.
That's probably 97%. So you're going to make 3-4%. But if you're getting into that, let's say you got into that in March and you had a full 6 months to sit in that at 8 to 10% yield,
yeah, you get that native yield.
You could double your return on that, right? Which then creates a lot more liquidity on these higher tail or lower tail probability events, which is kind of a problem for prediction markets to do. So yeah, I think that they have a good incentive structure in place. The biggest challenge for all of these competitors with Polymarket I think it's easier to attract the liquidity than it is to attract the users. So they really got to focus on how are they going to attract the users. And they also need more markets, right? They need more interesting markets, maybe that are unique to their blockchain or unique to their customer type, right? No one's going to be able to copy paste the Poly Market playbook and just win. Well, last thing on Predict Fund, what I really liked of what they did.
We got a little background noise.
What I really liked what they did is they used a centralized order book as opposed to doing like a AMM pool.
All right. Well, hey, fantastic insight from Kix. Kix is very familiar with Polymarket and the different prediction markets now. He's also just very good at analyzing the structure of these different crypto platforms and, you know, how they can potentially benefit users. My question with all of these is always the same. It's, you know, are the people making this serious people? Are they, you know, actually trying to build a business, or are they angling for, like, you know, just some kind of like maybe token drop or something like that? I always have questions about anonymity.
Yeah,
and things
especially
like
with PO, with the election markets going away in November. Maybe they extend until January. It's going to compress a little bit unless some people can find some new markets that really attract a lot of distribution liquidity. Like launching now, you got to have multi-year horizon. Like, I'm going to grind this out.
Yes, if you're a serious person, and obviously Polymarket will still be around, but you bring up a perfect question for these because
also you're up against zero fee Polymarket. You know, it's if OpenSea never existed and it just started as Blur, it's a little harder to like chop away at that lack of a fee structure. But more competition is good, right? We're all capitalists here.
Absolutely. Just hope that the competition's coming from serious people. Speaking of serious people trying to build real products in this space, we are joined with our partners for today's show, Tal Friedman, the CEO of Uncaged Games. You've seen us make other content about Uncaged and talk about them on this show today. We're really, really excited to have Tal. Tal, how you doing?
Great. How are you? It's a pleasure to join you.
Likewise. We're doing good. We're excited to have you. So a lot of our audience members have definitely seen us make content about Uncaged, but obviously for you being the CEO, I'd love to hear from you. How would you kind of simply sum up, you know, what Uncaged Studios is, and then specifically Uncaged Soccer? Can you just kind of give a brief explanation of what it is you guys are building?
Well, basically, we are a gaming studio. We're developing games, but of course, with the uniqueness of believing in the future of Web3 utility, going into the world of gaming. I think it's clear that
we got audience
in the future, for sure, Web3 utility is going to be part of gaming, probably in every game. And since we're coming from mobile gaming, long time developers of top grossing games, we wanted to be the first to be ready for that change. And actually, we're developing it for quite a while. So we have a lot of realizations already, and we've made a lot of changes so far. So we're really pioneering this, let's call it, challenge.
Absolutely. And you know, anybody that's built in Web3 is familiar with those challenges. Kix on the show right now is actually building you know, a video game organization in Web3 himself. So I'm sure he's very familiar. And later on in this discussion, I'm sure he'll have some good questions for you, Tal. When it comes to some of these improvements that you're talking about, you know, you guys have been planning a pretty big game update at this point for quite some time. What should people be expecting?
Well, I want to explain in general about games that when you decide to develop an innovative game, you first start with an assumption. And the goal always for a developer is to get as soon as possible to bring your assumption to reality or to the market and see results, and then start evolving based on statistics and results. And that's also what we did in the last 2 years. So actually, at the beginning of this year, we were able to go on a soft launch. We had a good budget, and we were able to onboard more than 75,000 people into this game. And based on a lot of metrics from these people, and of course not only, but because we also use quality testers with kind of recording themselves playing. And of course we have a lot of friends in the industry that we let them try the game and hear about their thoughts. And everything went towards understanding that the initial core gameplay that we built on was not engaging enough. If I want to put a little bit more details into it, we imagined playing football as a chess game. And when we met reality, people didn't feel this can go together. And so since we have a very strong team and very good infrastructure and technology, we've decided at this point to create like an evolution to the core of the game. And we are now developing the game as FIFA meets Brawl Stars, let's call it, so that the game is going to be much more dynamic. It's going to become a real-time game. And the last interesting thing about mobile games and how we find the best market fit is that during the time that we brought these 75,000 people, we also tested marketing materials in Meta and Google and some places where this is how in the future we're going to scale dramatically the amount of players playing the game. And we have another process of finding the right advertisement, which will cost less and bring engaged players into the game. Seeing that, we also recognize that the marketing material that worked was the dynamic one, the fast one, and things that looked like FIFA meets Brawl Stars. So based on all of this, we made another assumption, and now we are running as fast as we can to meet the market again with this new assumption and see the results.
Well, it's fascinating to hear the way you guys think about user acquisition for a crypto game. I also love seeing the gameplay. It reminds me of a very modern version of what I used to, want to play in arcades when I was a kid. And the focus on, making a fun game first being there is also very, important and inspiring from my perspective. I want to ask about, the entrepreneurial side of building in crypto, because obviously we experience the same thing. But first, I just want to dig in, because you guys are going to be at Breakpoint, where we're going to be. What made you guys decide to go to Breakpoint, which is going to be in Singapore? And, what can people kind of expect from Uncaged at Breakpoint?
So first of all, we're going there because it's a great opportunity to meet the industry, specifically the games industry. I think Solana today is leading. I know there are a lot of other games not on Solana, but in terms of the technology and what Solana will allow us as a game, that I think we are also, invested very much in creating a game, which no one can really help us within that, but we are Solana is helping us reduce the cost and the development of allowing Web3 audience to enjoy that. And that's why we're coming there, to meet more people, to show partners where we are, to meet them physically. So we've been part of Breakpoint also the last time, so we really like that opportunity. Specifically this year, we're coming with the new game. This will be the first time that people will be able to play it. Of course, it's a very basic version still, but we are moving very fast. So a few weeks later, we are going to also try a soft launch it again and start looking at metrics. And we wanted people to be able to play with it even before. And of course, we're coming to mingle around and meet everyone.
Awesome. Well, we'll be excited to hopefully meet you there. I'd imagine we will. We're going to be there all week, so it'd be great to, obviously catch up with you. Kix, if you have any questions for Tal, I'd love to hear them. Also want to talk about the entrepreneurial side. Kix, any questions for Tal before I dive into that?
Yeah, I mean, Tal, just a big fan of this. I love like the smash of like sports and strategy, instead of them being kind of like the twitchy action games, and instead having like a little bit more strategy behind them. Just curious your inspiration behind the game. Like, I know football Football Manager and those other kind of like strategy sims are kind of in the same area, but this seems more like more like in the game action strategy versus like
Yeah.
the strategy of managing a team. So just like curious if you had any inspiration for making this game and just more behind that, because I really love the concept.
Well, it's a great question because when we look business oriented, we're looking to create a top grossing game that will last for decade, that will last for years. We call it evergreen games. And looking at trying to create such game, if I have to mention games that we look at and try to really learn from, it's more of the Brawl Stars kind of games, games that made what I said, and they have more deepness than other very casual games.
Yeah, like
They
I'm
have
a big
skill.
Clash Royale guy, and I could kind of see like
Yeah, Clash Royale is
Yeah.
a good example for that. So having said that, the game has to still be very engaging for all kind of audiences. Now, the opportunity with going towards sport is that sport as a initially gives you more strategy, because when you play a war game, there is the extent of teaching you about war and what is the strategy that you need to take. But when you play soccer, most people, if they know soccer and they love soccer, they will talk about soccer for an hour now about what they believe should be the strategy and what they like in strategies. And that's why it's easier for us to also integrate the ability of you choosing your formation and choosing which kind of play do you like to do. So you will choose the right characters that have the right characteristics to play the way you like, even easier than war games. So it's a combination of trying to become kind of a Brawl Star game, but with the advantage of we don't need to teach you this game. This is a game you already know. So yeah, it's gonna also be a little bit more strategic than the normal casual games.
Any
Love it.
follow-up kicks?
No, that's great to hear.
Awesome, Tal. And so this is in line with what I was thinking about on the crypto entrepreneurship side. So you guys have a ton of experience in building traditional Web 2 games. When you think about the current state of affairs with blockchain gaming, at this point, years into it, but I talk about on the show all the time how long it can take for these things, like these brand new technologies, to sort of settle out and for people to figure out what the appropriate approaches are and for users to come around and everything like that, right? So when you guys think about the crypto, the blockchain component, how do you think about that? Because it's one thing to make a really fun, really great game, and it's another thing to then integrate crypto and blockchain into it in an effective way. And I'd imagine
Yes.
you've been talking about kind of, it sounds like operating in a gradual way where it's like releasing something, testing it, figuring out if it works, making adjustments accordingly, which I think has to be the approach, for, building in this space. Can you give us some insight on the crypto component and just how you guys are approaching that? Yeah.
So first of all, it's also a very good question, because if you want to be a Web3 oriented game, you need to kind of plan that from the beginning, because the economy of a game is different when you try to merge it with a real world currency that can be traded, or tradable assets and everything. The game might be breaking if you don't take this in mind and plan it ahead. And that's why it's gonna be not that easy for a lot of games that are already out there to quickly become Web3 games. I'm not saying it's not possible, but if you already create a game with this orientation, you take it in mind and you make it part of the plan. The thing about what we believe will be the economy and the utility of Web3 specifically in our game is that we used to have big games that had huge communities. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people following a community of a game, right? But there was never a real advantage for these communities being part of it, other than just, giving their feedback and kind of being involved in the content of the game and stuff like that. What we have been doing in the last few years in Playtika before we came is that we've managed huge VIP groups and kind of managing paying customers and stuff like that by giving them special treatments and advantages, discounts and stuff. And all of this kind of been the past. I think now when Web3 is here and actually people can own stuff in the economy, it's going to replace that. If you are a VIP of a game, means that you are invested with a lot of money in the game. We don't need to recognize that and then kind of contact you and then kind of give you discounts and stuff. It needs to be automatically. You buy something, it's part of the economy. So this is where we're taking our game. MBS, which is our currency already from the beginning, is going to let you use that to buy anything in the game and even more than you can buy within the mobile game. But not only that, it's going to give you huge discounts. So that, think about it, if you are a Web3 player starting to play the game early, and we are going to bring a lot of Web2 players, right? You're going to have a huge advantage playing against these people because you're going to pay, I don't know, half or maybe even less than what they need to pay in the game in order to get the content, in order to be advanced in the game and all of this. And this is what we believe in, because this will make people want to be Web3 and part of this community and believe in the game, okay, and then hold these assets. And this will also give them the advantage of being first. And when the game blows up and more people wants to get in, they get the advantage of being early on the economy.
Well, I love to hear about the kind of predecessor experience that you have, because that experience with online communities is incredibly relevant, like you said. And then framing up that when you go into building something like this, you have to know the direction that you're going to go in with it, because it's one thing to build an interactive game and it's another thing to have an effective and well-balanced in-game economy. So it sounds like you guys are off to a great start. Look, people can check out Uncaged at uncaged.com. That's UNKJD. So just the consonants, UNKJD.com. On Twitter, you can give them a follow. On X platform, give them a follow at Uncaged Games. That's at UNKJDgames.com. If you just type in UNKJD, they'll be able to see that. And then, of course, you, Tal, have a Twitter yourself. So it's just at Friedman Tal, your last name, then your first name, at Friedman Tal on X. Anywhere else people should, look up Uncaged? Any action items here besides, just going to the platform and checking it out?
Well, first of all, as you said, we're going to be in Solana. So if you happen to be around, you can even come and play the game.
At Breakpoint.
We're also at Breakpoint. We're also very soon we're going to release a new version. So if you want, you can register in the website and actually get to play the game soon. And by the way, we're gonna also announce a very big partnership with a very, very big brand during the Breakpoint Solana, which we're gonna have a long partnership with a very big brand. So stay tuned through all the channels that you said, and everything will come to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We got a little big brand partnership announcement coming at Breakpoint. I can't wait to find out what the story is there. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, uncaged.com, UNKJD.com, and then on Twitter, Uncaged Games. That's UNKJD Games. Right now, there's Uncaged Soccer, which is a very exciting game entering the Web3 ecosystem. And if you're at Breakpoint, make sure that you check out Tal and the rest of the Uncaged crew. We'll be meeting up with them while we're out there, I'm sure. And that's going to be a great time in Singapore. Tal, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yep. Pleasure's ours, Tal. Catch you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, uncaged.com, UNKJD.com. Big shout out to Tal and the folks over at Uncaged for partnering with us on today's show. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. I think Nick, he needs to stay on screen here. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time each and every week, where we discuss all things crypto. Shows available on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Shows available obviously on X platform, whether that's X platform video or Twitter Spaces, X Spaces. Also available on audio podcast platforms, really wherever you get your podcasts. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time every day. Catch you guys next time.